Hey everyone, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and today we're going to migrate some more data. So a little while ago we had a similar stream. So the plan is I have a spreadsheet, and each row in the spreadsheet represents a piece of data that we'd like to migrate from a SQL Server database to a MySql database. And to get from one database to the other, we're using two tools to help us out. A little Node script. So Node.js is a way to run JavaScript server side. And then we're also using the WordPress REST API to get the data the rest of the way. So Node pulls the data out of the SQL Server database, and then the WordPress API puts the data into the MySql database. I might have messed that up. So SQL Server to MySql. But that's the plan. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I think it's an okay example of some things that may have to happen when you're migrating from an old system to a new system, and you can't just write one script and have everything come over. It just doesn't work like that all the time. So we're going to have to kind of pick through the data, try to bring it over and in as big a chunks as we possibly can, but we still need to bring it over in a way that we're going to be able to make sense of it all and use it. So we're going to switch back and forth between the data table. We're going to modify our Node script and run it. And then we're also going to check on, this is a website that we're ultimately building here. So we're going to check on the old version of the website to try to figure out, like, is this data even live? Do we need it? And if it's still there in the website, like what's the context of this data to give us a better idea of where we should put it in the new database. So that's the plan. My wife is messaging me on the other screen, and she's doing some coding. She's doing the Udacity front-end anna degree. So she's sending me screenshots of her code and messaging me. She must not know I'm streaming. Alright, so let me switch over to my screen here. You can see this is what I was working on right before I started. Let me adjust this a little bit. Okay. I'm going to check the live chat and then we'll get started. Hey everyone. Alright, cool. Looks like you're all talking about a race that happened this weekend. Matthew asked if she started the memory project yet. She's on the memory project right now. That's the one she's working on. So she's working on some click handlers for the cards, and it actually works for her in CodePen, but not locally on her machine. So anyway, I think she'll probably be able to figure it out, and she's been doing a pretty good job of getting through it. Okay, so I brought over here. Let me start my Pomodoro session. I'm going to do 25 minutes of coding, in this case data migration, and then 5 minutes of question and answer, and we're going to go back and forth. I do have a meeting in less than an hour and a half now, so if we get a ton of questions, I may not be able to answer them all, but we're well within our normal time range here of around an hour for a stream. Someone asked for the website for this Pomodoro timer, so I'm going to copy and paste it into the chat here. If you click it and it doesn't work, then please try copying and pasting it. All right. So I found some data. Here's the data that I found here. This is really small. I kind of need to keep it small to be able to see the range, but I'm just going to explain a little bit about what's going on here. I found some data here that has to do with residence life, so like the dorm rooms on campus where students live and things like that. So I assume this may be able to be like its own section, its own post type in the WordPress and in the database, or maybe we can just tag it in with something else. But I need to know what category this goes in, so that's why I just searched for it here. And I could see, hey, this is residence life. So let's click it and see, all right, what section does this fall under? So it actually looks like this is kind of its own section. It's like a top level here. So it's .edu/residence life. So we may be able to put this in its own section. Just want to see if we have it, if it's even a kind of a top level link here, because I'm not sure where it's linked from. Student life. I'm guessing it would be student life where it's linked from. So I'm clicking in here. If I might be able to put it under the student life, like in the section with all that data that we brought over. Residence life, does that guy take us to the same spot? Oh, it does. It does. Interesting. Maybe we'll do that then. This will be a little bit easier than making a completely new post type. So what we'll do is we already have a section for stuff like this under student life. And let me pull up the WordPress. Did I make this? Yeah, I think this is it. Alright, so we have a WordPress installation we've been putting all this data into, and we can see, I will make this a bit bigger for you all to see. So we have all these different data types to keep things straight for us here, and we need to find the one that's student life. Now, the users who are going to be in charge of editing this, very few users are going to see all of this. It's a bit much, right? So most people will only see maybe one or two types, so it'll be much cleaner, easier to edit. I thought I had student life stuff, student profile pages. Where are we at? Student life pages. There we are. Okay, so we already have a bunch of student life pages, and wow, we have quite a few. We have 3 pages of student life pages. Looks like these are a lot of the student organizations. Okay, wonderful. I think this will fit well in there. So here's what we need to do. We need a few pieces of information in order to make this script work. So we need to know what the folder ID is that this data lives in, and we also need to know what the post type, the slug, is, right? So it's like a unique identifier for that post type. In this case, it's going to be student life page. I believe it will be student life pages. I think that's it. We'll find out. If I run it and it doesn't work, then I'll know that's the wrong one. And we need this ID is 486. So let's plug in 486. We're going to save that. Quickly, I'll just go over this. Basically, we're using the SQLize to, all right, and this doesn't, we're all importing this stuff, right? So this doesn't come with Node.js by default, right? So we're using SQLize to help us interact with a SQL database a little bit easier, right? And then we have our SQL query, If it's a little bit different than you're used to, SQL has kind of different flavors depending on the type of SQL database. So a query for MySql may look slightly different than SQLServer, but you can kind of figure out what's going on if you are familiar with SQL. Basically, we're just getting a little bit of, we're specifying what data we want from where we want it, so from what section of the database we want it. And this data length greater than 0 just means I don't even want to bother pulling in any data that is empty, right? It doesn't have any content at all, right? And in our case, our content's HTML markup. If it doesn't have markup, I don't really want it. And that's pretty much it. Then down here, we're basically taking that data we're getting and we are creating posts in WordPress and then having them put into the MySQL database. And we're taking the data that has a certain name in the MySQL database and we're giving it a name that is more appropriate, or I'm sorry, in our SQL Server database, we're giving it a name that's more appropriate for WordPress and MySQL. And in fact, I do want to get rid of this. That was for a previous thing we were working on. All right, great. That looks, oops, accidentally hit a key. That looks perfect. Let's now run this. So we need to run migrate.js. All right, it's doing something. And let's stop that. And we're going to check to make sure that these got inserted. So right now we have 50 items. If I refresh and it's more than 50, then it worked. Nope, it didn't work. Alright, so why did it not work? Probably because I put in the wrong post type. So, student life pages. What did I put in wrong? Alright, let's check what the post type is. You know, actually it may tell me here in this log. Student life pages. That looks right. So what did I do? STUDENT life pages. Oh, you know what? I don't think it's plural. I think it needs to be singular. Student life page, right? Because each one of these is a post. So I'm creating a new student life page. That's the problem. All right, now let's check. There we go. Now we have 67 items. So we went from 50 to 67. That's our extra 17 items that we just added. Okay, and so here we go. These it's supposed to be short for a CC heights. So definitely going to change that title before it shows up in anyone's search. But that's basically the process that we go through. Now I can go in here. I have all these selected, and I'm going to remove it from the table. Don't worry though. I have a copy of this spreadsheet in case I accidentally remove stuff that I shouldn't. But for this one, I'm trying to get rid of everything as soon as we pull it over, and that way, just visually, it'll be very easy for me to see the progress, and the rows go down and down and down. Okay, I see a few questions in the chat, so if any of you are new, please be patient. I have a timer on right now. When that timer goes off, then I will go back to the chat and answer your questions. Okay, here we have some more things here. I'm going to try to find something that doesn't require me to create a custom post type. Let's see. These look like people, lots of people, and they don't work here. Are they alumni? Are they speakers? Yeah, I think these may have been speakers. Distinguished Speakers Series. Okay. I'm not sure where I want to put that right now. And I know you probably can't see how small this is, so I'm trying to read it out a bit. I can delete this. Some of these are just tiny, they're just such tiny fragments of pieces of data. We just don't need them. Let's see. Directories. Okay, these look like residence halls. Residence life staff. Okay. Is this what, contact information or just general information? So I think this can go in the same spot that we wanted in. Let's just verify and see here. Do we have information about residence halls here? Residence life, residence halls. Yep. So that's where these are. Each one of these residence halls will have its own page and some info, and I believe that's where this is coming from. Residence life, halls, okay. Great. So let's take this and grab this data, and since we're going to send it to the same place, all we need to do is change that folder ID. So this will be 537. So let's go up in here. 537. We'll save it. Nothing else needs to change, and we'll run this again. Ooh, 20 of them. The more I can get in per query, the better. Once I did a query and we got like, I don't know, around 500 at once, and that was awesome. I think that was the biggest one that I've done so far. All right, great. So we have those. I know this will work, but it's always good to verify. Not great to just get ahead of it. Yep. Now we're up to 87 items. Wonderful. And so now we can remove these. Let's see. Yeah, we can remove these from here. I was not employed here at this university whenever the old site was built, so I'm learning so much about the website now as I go through and get all this content. There are like whole sections that I didn't even know existed. Let's see. It looks like these are some more. These are more information. Are these galleries? Alright, these are just image galleries. I'm going to bring these over. I'm not exactly sure we'll keep them. I know some of the older images aren't great quality, so we may want to replace them, but better just to bring it over. And this is 539 is the section. 539. So let's change that over here. 537. I brought 537 and 530. It looks like 536 could come over too. I think I'll bring over 536 as well. So let's do 539. Save that. Run it. And I'll do 536 as well. Save that. Run it. Wonderful. We'll verify. 97 items. Great. Now we can just delete all of this. Wonderful. Okay, so this is the pattern. This is what I do when I'm on campus. So usually I'm on campus 2 days a week in my office. My pattern of working for the last few weeks has been try to squeeze in all my meetings into those 2 days a week. So that takes up a lot of my time. And then when I'm not doing that or taking care of like other tasks like paperwork and things that I usually only do in the office, I'm doing this over and over again. So I'm almost through. I'm getting pretty happy about that. So it probably doesn't really make for a great live stream to do this. I hope, I don't know, maybe you get just kind of an appreciation for a way that you could handle something like this. But I'll do, let me see what time it is. All right, so I'll do this for a few more minutes, and then I'll see what kind of questions we have, and then we'll go from there. And you all let me know. If you really want to see any more of this, or you'd rather me kind of go to questions, keep it a shorter stream, I'd like right now to find some more student life things and just try to like chunk it together so we don't have to change both pieces of data. But I'm also not going to spend a bunch of time scrolling through here to try to find some data. So let's see. We have Baccalaureate 2015 image gallery. I don't think we need that. These are old, 2015, and 2017, 2015. So it looks like we have some things in here that we don't need to bring over. These are all old, so let's get rid of them. This is 2016, 2014. Actually, these are all together here for sure. Commencement, general info. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Commencement information. Yeah, I don't need that because that's, whoops. There we go. Yeah, let's delete that. These conferences, I'm not sure if they want these conferences, like the details from past conferences or not. Maybe I'll just leave them for now, and I'll ask my boss about it. Okay, these. Alright, so I recognize some of these names as people that work here. Okay. I don't really want to try to sort out where all these people work and get them in the right spots, so let's just keep on going. Oh, conspiracy theories. That sounds like a cool course. That's crazy. That's actually a course. Let me see. It's possible that these courses... What happened? I lost it. It's possible that those courses might be old and we can get rid of them. Oh, you know what? These are a bunch of old events as well. I don't know if the theater department would want to keep some old events just for students, prospective students to see. So maybe I'll ask about those as well. Let's see. Alright, looks like I can remove some of these too. This makes me happy when I can just get rid of stuff because we're not going to bring it over. Let's see. 4, 6, 7. Yeah, all of these looks like they are listings for events that have happened at least a year ago. Get rid of it all. I'm sure it doesn't matter to you and it seems boring, but it feels amazing when I can just get rid of those because that means I don't have to do anything. I don't have to create post types. I don't have to migrate the data. Like, it's just like, hey, it's done. Okay, great. Maybe I might make this just a bit bigger because I know it's going to be hard for you all to see, and it's most definitely difficult for me to see. Let's see if I can just make this bigger in bulk. Come on. Let's get a 16. Yay, that's so much bigger. And let me get a font that I like better. You know what? We use Roboto for everything. We may as well use it for our spreadsheets, right? Okay. Cool. A little bit better. I can still see all of the data that I need, so this is fine. So here we are. Academic organizations, student clubs, pilgrimage. So this 469 looks like this could also go in that student life. So let's pull that in. 469. So 469, we're gonna save that, run it, and verify. So we're gonna go to from 97, it should say 99. Yep, 99, awesome. And this isn't the end of it. Like, after I would do this, I would then have to go in and make sure, like, are the titles okay? You know, a lot of the titles contain abbreviations and things that nobody's going to understand, so I got to clean up the titles. Got to make sure the slugs for the post types are something that we can actually work with and fit nicely in a URL. Sometimes there'll be multiple posts, and really we could condense it down into one. So there's a lot of cleanup that happens as well afterwards. This is just kind of the first step. And let's see. All right, counseling. Looks like we got a nice chunk of data here for counseling. Health center. All right, let's do that. You know what, I want to see counseling service. I want to see what part of the website this is on. So let's check the website again. I gotta go to the search. I can never remember how to spell Counsel. Counseling service. I don't want to get the wrong info, because we have a counseling program where we teach people about counseling, but we also have counseling services. There we go. Wellness center. My mother-in-law is actually a counselor here at the same university as I am. Counseling service is under Wellness Center. Okay. And I bet the Wellness Center pages are under Student Life. Let's see. Health services. Counseling services. Yep, it's under Student Life. So let's throw it in there with Student Life. 481 is what we want. 481, and let's migrate it. Down the road, if we ever end up seeing like, wow, this post type has way too many posts in it, it's huge, we can always break it out into separate ones. But right, we don't want to optimize too much early, right? It can be at kind of a waste of time to do it too early, and it may not even be necessary at all, ever. So we want to try to avoid that if we can. So let's double check. We'll verify, and my timer's almost up, so we'll do some question and answer here in just a few seconds. All right, awesome. So that worked. And the last thing we want to do before we forget is remove all of these posts that were in that folder with the ID of 481. All right, delete. Great. Okay. So I'm going to set a 5-minute timer, but I'm not sure I'm going to go back and do another Pomodoro session of just data migration. You all let me know like how valuable this is to you. I have to do this. It's getting down, like I can't put this off any longer. I got to get the rest of the data in. So I really need to make sure I get this done. Otherwise, I would probably be streaming me doing something else, maybe a little bit more fun. So if you have a question, please put it in the live chat now. I just want to mention to everyone, I'm going to go to the Revolution Conference in Virginia Beach later this week. So I'll stream probably tomorrow if I can, but then I most likely will not be able to stream the rest of the week. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no streams. If for some reason, like maybe I can find some really good internet when I'm there, then maybe I can do a stream, but I don't know beforehand, so I can't really guarantee anything. If anybody is in the Virginia Beach area and is either going to the conference, that come find me, let me know. That'd be awesome. Or if you're just in the area, even if you're not going to the conference, if you'd like to hang out or something, let me know. All right, so I'm starting right at the top of the live chat. I'm just going to scroll down and try to answer the questions as they came in. Phoenix says, hey, how's it going, Phoenix? Good to see you. Let's see. Ezekiel says, everyone, something is going on with me, okay? Ezekiel, what's up? What's going on? All right, Teresa says thanks. Was it Teresa that asked? Yeah, all right, Teresa asked for the website. Is it Teresa? Am I pronouncing that right? If not, please let me know. But anyway, Teresa, you're welcome. Abdulaziz is here. How's it going? Thanks for watching. Let's see. Hamemi says hi. How's it going? Not bad. No, I'm starting to get a little nervous and like I don't know, nervous / excited about launching this site. So that's how it's going for me. How you doing? Hey, Anna's here. Hey, Anna, how's it going? Chris asks if I've tried out CSS Grid yet. I've done really minimal work with CSS Grid, so I don't... Honestly, at this point, my knowledge of CSS Grid is so little. Like, I don't even want to try to explain anything about it to anyone yet, because I would probably mess it up. But it's something I really do want to learn more about. There's so many tutorials and things that I'd like to do right now. I just, like... Since it's getting close to launch time for this site, everything is focused on that. So I haven't even been like doing my usual. I usually try to learn new things as I'm working, like even if it's just a half hour a day. But I've even cut that out. So hopefully afterwards, after it launches on June 4th, hopefully I'll have a little bit more time for learning. Christian says, Jesse, it is nice to see the real work you do also. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything I stream is, I mean, it is things that I'm doing, but I try to save the things that I think will be most exciting or like informative or helpful for you all. But I guess there's value in showing kind of like the tedious, boring stuff sometimes too. All right, John's here. He says, hey, all of the finer repetitive details, the doing is not so pretty. The end product is the gem. Yeah, I hope. Swadisi says, good luck for that. I guess you're talking about my trip, so thanks. Austin says, I live in Virginia Beach. Come use my internet. Oh, awesome. Austin, like if you want, I mean, you don't have to let me use your internet, but if you're going to be in Virginia Beach, if you're interested in trying, like, meeting up, getting a coffee or something at some point, let me know. You can. I think my link to my Twitter is in the description. You can DM me if you want or whatever. So that might be kind of cool. If we could find a coffee shop that has decent Wi-Fi, we might be able to do a little stream or something. I don't know. Sometimes coffee shops aren't great for a stream if there's a lot of people. The background noise is insane. But anyway, I'm down to hang out. I don't know how much time I'll have because it'll be conference stuff all the time, but I will try to work it out. All right, we have greetings from Ukraine, and let me grab. That's in Cyrillic, but I'm going to use Google Translate to figure out what that is. Ivan. Okay, so Ivan says greetings from Ukraine. Greetings, Ivan. Thank you, and thanks for watching. Inna says, any news? I guess I'm assuming you were here when I talked about the conference I'm going to, so I won't repeat that. But other than that, I don't think any news. Not really. I mentioned before, I've been on a diet and I've been trying to exercise, and that's going well. I'm continuing to lose weight, so I'm happy about that. I have a lot more energy. Yeah, so that's pretty good. All right, Hamemi says, I'm doing fine, thanks. Have started learning ES6. Or is it still early? I'm not if you're. Are you asking me if I started learning ES6 or if you should start learning ES6? I guess I can answer both. So I do know quite a bit of ES6. I don't really use all of ES6 all the time, so you forget what you don't use, right? But there are some parts of ES6 that I use like every day, like arrow functions. Oh, Hamemi says both of us. Okay, cool. Yeah, like, I mean, even especially when we're doing React, like we're using arrow functions all the time. I believe like map, filter, sort, those things I think are ES6. Template literals, love template literal syntax. Use that a lot. Let, const, those are ES6. So I mean, there is a good chunk of ES6 that we use all the time. But there are certainly some things that we don't use. I'm trying to think what else. Object destructuring. So I mean, there are things. I think it's getting to the point now where people could potentially be using ES6 and not even realize that it's ES6 because it's just getting so kind of blended in with what people are doing. Tutorials are using it, so which is good, right? I mean, we're already on ES8. ES6 been around for a while. Like I think it will start to get even more and more like normal. Browser support a lot of it now. So anyway, I love all the parts of ES6 that I use frequently. They're just very helpful. If you're not sure what ES6 is, it's also called ES 2015. They are some new features that were added to the JavaScript language way back in like 2015. I don't know exactly when they were added, but around there. And with transpilers, people started using them before they were even official. So anyway, that's what we talk about when we're saying ES6 and ES 2015. So if you want to know what exactly was added, try searching ES6. You should be able to find something probably on that first page of results that'll go through it. Let's see. Phoenix says, hey Jesse, just wanted to ask what average salary can a guy in India expect for remote work in US? Let's consider a full-time front-end developer job. All right, well, it's going to be a little bit hard for me to answer that because, certainly I would think like companies here in the United States, when they look at how to compensate a remote worker, what they usually do, at least here in the United States, is they say, okay, what is a fair wage for where that person lives? So, for instance, in the United States, in San Francisco, cost of living is really, really high, like amazingly high. It's just astounding to me how much, for instance, like houses cost out there. So, let's just say, I'm just kind of making these numbers up. Let's just say the average front-end developer in San Francisco makes $150,000 a year. If I were to get a job with a company but stay where I'm at and work remotely, even if that company's headquartered in San Francisco, they're going to look at my market and they're going to say, wow, that's a really economically depressed area. You can make a living off, much less. It takes much less to raise a family and get a house and everything where I'm at. So they may say like, okay, we're going to pay you $80,000 a year. So you got to take that into consideration. So I don't know what they would do. They might take into account your standard of living. I would imagine you could probably end up getting a little bit more. A company I think that's headquartered in an expensive area is still most likely going to be a bit more willing to pay more because they're used to paying more for their employees where they're at. But in terms of giving a number, I don't really know. I know like in Pittsburgh, the closest big city to me is Pittsburgh, and I know in Pittsburgh for like a front end full stack engineer, you're looking at like minimum, basically like I would never take a job for less than like $75,000 a year in Pittsburgh. Anything below that, it's kind of like, I just wonder if the company is really willing to put forth resources to make a good product. If that's what they're willing, they either one like have no idea what developers are worth, or which is bad, or two, they don't care enough or don't have enough money to really put into a project to make it succeed. So either way, I don't really want to be working there. So my bare minimum would be like $75,000 a year, and then I would consider something like in the 90s would be a good offer. So anything over 90,000 would I would consider to be a really good offer, and so the kind of the mid range would be between 75 and 90, and that's U.S. dollars per year. And if we're talking, so that's Pittsburgh. If we're talking San Francisco, I don't know, add like 30,000 on to those figures, because it's much more expensive. New York's pretty expensive. San Francisco, as far as I know, is the most expensive place in the U.S. New York's also up there as being pretty expensive as well. Zuhaib. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Please correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But anyway, they say, hey, I'm new to learning Node. I want to show data from the console to web page using body parser, but I can't. All right, so let me check my time. See how I can answer this. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure right off the bat what to answer. The only time I use body parser is when I'm grabbing data from an HTML form and I want to do things with that data in Node. So I've never dealt with that specific use case. I'm trying to think of some resource I could maybe point you to. I'm not sure. If anybody in here has worked with something similar in Node, please let us know in the live chat. Otherwise, I'm going to try to keep thinking of it. If I could think of something before the stream's over, I will definitely mention it. But like I said, I haven't dealt with that specific situation, so I'm not exactly sure. Okay, Hamemi says, I'm doing a course on Udemy that focuses a lot on ES6. Okay, so that was why we had the question with the ES6. It says it's called Mobile Web Specialist and focuses also on service workers. All right, cool. Service workers are amazing. We're working with service workers in this project as well, but a lot of it is set up behind the scenes already by Next.js, which we're using, so we don't have to directly deal with them, but a service worker can sit between the client and the server and intercept network data and do things with it. So it could cache data, and then the client's network call goes out like normal, but it doesn't go any further because the service worker will say, oh, they want this data, we already have it cached, just send it back. And then you have like 0-second load times because the data is right there, because the service worker actually lives in the browser, right? So it doesn't have to go anywhere. It doesn't even have to leave the browser. So really cool. Really cool things. You can also do things like calculations that would normally like crush your performance, like in the DOM, scrolling, and it'd make everything all janky. You could offload it to a service worker, do all the calculations there, and not mess up your flow. Basically, it wouldn't render block at all. It wouldn't block the normal stuff that needs to happen on the page. So that'd be pretty cool if you were going to do like image processing. Somebody uploads an image, you want to do some really like resource intensive things to it. Handle that in a service worker, and then the user can still scroll around your page while that's doing its thing. Okay, Niki says ES6 is the language itself now, meaning JavaScript. It's in the official spec. When learning JavaScript, you also learn ES6 now automatically, unless you're learning old material. Oh, actually, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I mean, when I went through the basic tutorials of JavaScript, ES6 was still, early on it wasn't out yet, and then later on it was still really kind of new, so it just wasn't there. But that's cool that it's a part of the tutorials now. I mean, I think as it should be, right? Because there are some things that were a lot harder to do before ES6, and I don't see that much value in making a new learner do it the harder way when not even the advanced people are doing it like that anymore. So yeah, I think that's good that they're teaching it like that. Ivan says, asks if I'm using something else other than React in the front end, or if I've been using React for most of the projects. It's not that I have anything against the other stuff. It's just I'm kind of taking the approach right now that I'd rather get really good at one thing than try to know a little bit about all the things. So I have to give up on some things that I think are really cool. But it's for the sake of trying to make ultimately a better product. So I've chosen React, and so for the time being, I'm pretty much just building things in React. And if I'm not using React, that means it's simple enough that I can just build it with just plain JavaScript. So that's where I'm at right now. We do have some other videos on the freeCodeCamp channel using things like Vue and Angular, so you could check the backlog of videos and see some other things as well. So we're not like just React, but for me personally, I'm using a lot of React. Let's see. Ivan asked if I'm the creator of freeCodeCamp. No. So Quincy, I don't know if you all know Quincy. So Quincy created freeCodeCamp. He is the founder, and he is I don't know what his title, president. I'm not. Let me look him up on Twitter to see what his title is, because I'm not sure. Quincy's so humble. His Twitter says teacher at freeCodeCamp. He's in charge of it all. So anyway, Quincy Larson is who you want. So if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at Ossia, Ossia. Anyway, he's very, very awesome guy. So yeah, he's the one that started. My involvement with freeCodeCamp is pretty limited to these live streams on YouTube. I've talked with some of the other people from freeCodeCamp and had some like video chats and things, but there are a ton of other people that work on various areas of freeCodeCamp. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes that nobody even knows about that are making this happen and working for free too. I mean, almost all the stuff that gets done on freeCodeCamp is from volunteer time. Let's see. Edixon, so Edicson says, "Hi there, I'm 28. Am I too old to be a programmer? What do you think?" No, definitely not too old. You're never too old to be a programmer. I've seen stories of people a lot older switching careers, learning how to become a programmer, and having successful programming careers. So I am 32 years old. I taught high school for a little while in my mid-20s, and then I switched into programming in my late 20s. So I learned a little bit before that, but I really kind of got serious about it and switched into it in late 20s. And I'm employed now as a full-time front-end developer. I don't know how successful you would consider me, but I make enough money to support my family and pay my bills. I mean, I have 4 kids, I have a wife, so I'd say that's, it's pretty successful, right? I mean, I'm not making millions or anything, but certainly can support myself and my family. So yeah, 28, definitely not too old. Let's see. Mert says hi. Says, "I love freeCodeCamp." Awesome. Thank you. I love it too. That's why I do this stuff. So, I mean, I do have my own YouTube channel, and I do some videos on there, but as you all know, like the majority of my hours spent doing YouTube stuff are spent with freeCodeCamp. So I think it's something special. I think it helps people. Edison says, "I studied 3 years in my country, but then I came to the U.S. and I have been working as a barber. I love these two professions." Oh, cool. I have a lot of family members that are barbers and hairdressers, actually. So I've got one uncle, 2 great uncles, and 2 cousins, first cousins, that are all barbers or hairdressers. So definitely appreciate what it takes to do that job. All right. Francis says, "Have you tried PHP? What can you say about it?" I have tried PHP, and for this project in particular, I've done a little PHP. So all those custom post types you saw in WordPress, I created a plugin in PHP that creates those and some custom taxonomies as well. So I don't have a lot to say about PHP. I can do a little bit when I need to in PHP. It's not my preferred language. But, I mean, like any language, I think whatever language you work with the most is usually the one you're most comfortable with. So I'm not that comfortable with it because I don't do that much. And I think, for most languages can do most things, right? Most of your major languages. So it seems like the strengths and weaknesses of those languages are mostly felt kind of at the extremes. Where like you really need performance, and then you could start to see some differences. But for most things, I think PHP is as good as anything else. For me personally, if I was getting into web development, which I am in it now, but if I was trying to pick, as a beginner and trying to pick what to learn, I personally would go with full stack JavaScript. Because my view on it is you only have so many, hours in the day to learn. why not learn one language and be able to do two things with it, right? Front end and back end, then learn two different languages. And since you got to know JavaScript for web development anyway, why not just stick with it? So, and that's nothing against PHP. It's just kind of being really practical about it and trying to be as efficient as possible with my learning. But if you do want to work with anything like WordPress, which a ton of websites run on WordPress, so there's definitely a market there, then you're probably going to want to know PHP because that's what it's built on. Also, if you want to work on Drupal or Joomla, which are not as popular as WordPress, but you still see them a lot, those also run off PHP. So it's definitely still valuable to learn. Let's see. Lawrence says, do you know Scratch and is it good? Oh yeah, Scratch. For those of you who don't know what Scratch is, it's like a visual programming language. I believe it was developed at MIT mainly to help teach kids programming. So you have these tiny little colored blocks that represent different actions you can take in code. So you have one for like a for loop. You have ones that represent variables, like iterators, like different basic things, while loops, and you just click and drag the blocks over to where your code lives, and so you build the code like that. Instead of typing it out, you click and drag these different colors, so it's kind of easier for kids with little fingers, and not quite, don't really have the dexterity yet for a lot of typing, or the spelling skills, really, can still make some cool things in Scratch. And there have been some people to do some pretty advanced things in Scratch, like usually like games and things. So it's, I wouldn't do like a real project in Scratch for a client or anything. It's not a programming language like that, but it's just another layer of abstraction geared towards making programming easier for children. So if you're just starting out, starting with Scratch is not a bad idea, even if you're older. I know Harvard's Computer Science 50 course starts you out in Scratch. The first assignment for that course is Scratch, and that course is geared towards people who are 18, 19, 20, like around that age range. So Scratch is just a cool place to start to get an understanding of what are loops, what are if statements, and things like that, without having to get bogged down by all this syntax, right? So definitely awesome for kids, but also awesome for adults who are just starting out in programming. And it's just kind of fun, right? It's like if you just want to mess around and do something, Scratch is fun. Hamemi says, it's really good to see these people with different cultures gathered together by enthusiasm for coding. Yeah, definitely. I know I've talked about this before, I'm sure, but I think that there's really something special going on here with freeCodeCamp and with these live streams, in that, like, there's a community that's grown. So like not everybody attends every live stream, and that's fine because everybody has their own lives and priorities, and that's totally fine. But like, in general, there are quite a few people who are regulars, who you see, from time to time in here, that start to know each other, that even start to work on projects together outside of this live stream, that help each other out. And that's awesome. People have come into the chat and watched the streams and just been learning, and then they've gone on interviews, and then they've gotten job offers and started working and have kind of checked in throughout this whole process and updated us in the chat. So I think that's cool. People have shared, like I know I share a lot of my struggles with mental health and even physical health and things, and I know some of you have shared as well. So I know there are people from everywhere, a lot of different countries, different cultures, different religions, different everything that you can be that's different from each other. I think we've seen it here, and we all get along. I mean, I almost never have to block someone or delete a comment or anything. I think it's amazing, right? There's a lot of haters on the internet and a lot of trolls, but they're not here. They're not here. They're good people here. You all are good people, so I appreciate that, and it makes me want to keep doing this. It makes me want to learn more so that this is useful for you all, and I can keep doing this. So anyway, I'll keep going. I'm not gonna dwell on it too much. I really appreciate this community. Let's see. Leandro says, hi, I'm from Brazil. I love freeCodeCamp. Awesome. That's cool. Like I said, freeCodeCamp is a huge thing. We're doing a lot of stuff, and I'm just a very small part of that. Santiago says, greetings from Venezuela. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Amemi says, in the field of coding, the journey of knowledge just never ends. So true. That's what I love about it. Phoenix says also, right, that Haley Jones on Twitter will put up her portfolio tomorrow? Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, I do. I follow Haley Jones on Twitter, so really cool. Lauren says, thanks for the answer, but Scratch is a good way to begin. But is Scratch a good way to begin JavaScript? Because I do it for 2 years now. I don't really know. 2 years? I'm not sure if that's years or not, but I don't really know how to go from Scratch to Java. I did download Grasshopper, the new Learn app. I haven't had a chance to try Grasshopper yet, and by Grasshopper, that is the new app from Google that helps you learn JavaScript, correct? Somebody let me know if I'm wrong on that. I haven't tried it yet. Like I mentioned earlier, I've just been kind of in rush mode here for this website launch, so I haven't done anything on the side, but I'd love to try it. I think I've heard a lot of good things about it, though, so I think that may be a good way to go to get into JavaScript. Also, you can go through the FreeCodeCamp curriculum. So if you go to freeCodeCamp.org and you start it on that, it'll start you out with HTML and CSS, but then it'll ease you into JavaScript. So that's a great way to learn as well. It's not the only resource. There are a lot of other resources out there, but it's one that I myself went through. I didn't finish all of FreeCodeCamp, but I did go through a bit of it, and it definitely helped. Lauren says, I'm from Belgium. Awesome. Niki's in Belgium too. Great. I love it. I love having people from all over. Hamemi says, have to go now. Happy coding. Hey, see you, Hamemi. Have a great day. Glad you could join us. All right, and I believe that's it. That's the end of the live chat. So, unless someone sneaks another question in there in the next 30 seconds or so, I think we're going to wrap things up. Thank you all so much for watching. I know it was a little bit maybe boring with the data stuff, so hopefully I won't need to do any more streams with that, and I'll get all this finished soon. But anyway, like I mentioned earlier, I will try my best to stream tomorrow, but then the rest of the week after that, I will be at a conference, probably won't be able to stream. And let me know if you're in Virginia Beach, and so maybe we could, hang out or something. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, I'll be in Virginia Beach. So at the Revolution Conference. So I guess I'll see y'all tomorrow. And until then, have a great day.